Hello, my name is Sip Mendez. Welcome to Sip's Wood Chips. And it is Sip, C-I-P. My real name is Cipriano, but everybody calls me Sip. And here it is, 2016, and this is my first video of 2016. So Happy New Year to everybody. I hope everybody enjoyed the holidays. This year I do have some resolutions, and that is I'm going to try to talk a little bit more. I'm also going to try to improve the video quality. So I've got new lights. I've got some lights to help illuminate, and lights in the corner over there. So using my new camera now, I have a Canon, I think it's an HF R50, and I've had it for a year, and I just couldn't get around to learning how to use it. So this year's resolution is learn how to use the new camera. And the reason I got it is because I can use a separate microphone, and hopefully I can get better audio quality without having to shout across the room, and maybe there'll be a lot less echoes. And so I did get some new presents this year to help me with my recordings. I got a digital recorder here, and this is very nice. This is a Tascam DR-05, and it records digitally, and it too is more complicated than I wish it were. Having to learn that is kind of difficult. I got a external mic, this little one here. I probably heard some clicking there where I touched it, and that plugs directly into the camera. And if that works well, then I don't have to do any synchronizing of audio to video. If I have to use the audio off the digital recorder, then it's a little bit more complicated. Technical issues, I guess you'll say. Okay, and I'll try to get things more focused on what I'm working and get some of the trash out of the way. I'm always collecting way too much stuff. So I do have a video for you for this week, and on making these little caddies. And when my children were small, they used to use them. I have 3 children. The girls would put little dolls in theirs. I'd find them made up to be looking like little doll beds. Sometimes one of the girls collected those little My Pretty Ponies, so it'd be all full of little pretty ponies. My son, he'd put things like his little Matchbox racers and Hot Wheels. What was the other one? Oh, the G.I. Joes, the little G.I. Joe figurines. He'd have those. Then in springtime, I remember they would put their seeds and seedlings in here, and they'd go out with their mom and plant things in the garden. So they were always handy and useful. And now, this Christmas, I made about 3 or 4 of these, and now I'm making them for the grandkids. So I wanted to show you how I made this. And as always, make sure you read, understand, and follow all the instructions that come with your power tools and equipment. Woodworking is fun, but it's important to work safely. And it's also remember that these are a video record of how I built this item. They may not be the best way to do it, nor the safest way, so always proceed with caution if you decide to make something like this. This one is about 10 inches across. These side panels are about 2.5 inches. They're 6 inches wide and about 7 inches tall. And this handle, that's made out of some 5/8 dowel rod. And this particular wood I got at the big box store. And I was surprised to see a label on it that said that this wood is actually from Sweden. I'm going to start with this piece of wood here. And I really only need about 2 feet. This one is about 3.5 feet long. So, but I'll cut my pieces from it, and I'll save the rest for maybe the next box. So I'm going to need 7 inches here, 7 inches here, and about 10 inches down there. So that's about 24 inches. This wood is usually called 1x6, and a 1x6 is actually about 5.5 inches wide and 3/4 of an inch thick, but I planed it down to about 5/8. Then that was just to make it lighter, and you can use full 3/4 inch stock, and that's fine also. My first mark, I'm gonna make it at 7 feet, at 7 inches. Okay, and this one in here is actually 8.5 inches. This one here is actually 8.5 inches, the way it fits in there. And I'm going to skip an eighth and go over here 8.5 inches. Then I'm going to skip an eighth of an inch and then cut another one 7 inches. And there's nothing magic about that. It just the way I'm working it out. And that's going to be about 23 inches, but 24 inches is good. You always need a little bit extra. And I'll cut those over on my chop saw. Here are the pieces I cut. Got 2 pieces, 7 inches long, and the full width of the board, which is 5.5 inches, and 1 piece that is about 8.5 inches. Yes, a little bit over 8.5 inches. That's fine. And then later I'll cut a piece of dowel rod to make the handle. Next thing I need to do is cut these angle sides here. And the first thing I need is to find the center of that. Yeah, I'll do it upside down. So I need to find the center, and I'm going to measure it out. It's 5.5 inches, so I know that 5.5, half of 5 is 2.5, and half of a half is 1/4. So that's 2 3/4 to the center. And that's how I do it. Just real quick and easy. Then across the top here, I want that to be about 1.5 inches. So I know that to make that 1.5 inches, I need to come 3/4 of an inch this way, and 3/4 of an inch that way. And I'll transfer those marks up here. And I need to keep track of the center, because this hole here, eventually it's going to be a little bit over 3/4 of an inch from the top. I can measure that down right now. And this would be 3/4 and give it a little bit more to the center. So this is where the hole, I'll drill the hole for the handle. And that is going to be 5/8 of an inch in diameter. The sides, I'm going to cut these to be about 2 3/4 inches high. So to this shoulder will be 1/8 less than 3 inches. So I can just mark off 3 inches less than 1/8. That'll be here. And 3 inches, oh, should do it down here, shouldn't I? 3 inches less than 1/8 should be about here. And with any luck at all, these 2 marks should be about right across from each other. That's pretty good. Then all I need to do is connect this one to that one. Draw my line. And that gives me the shape. I like cutting these on the bandsaw, so I'll take these over to the bandsaw and we'll cut them there. Here I am at the bandsaw, and here's my little piece of wood, my marks. I'm going to cut here and here. And this blade is a 1/4 inch blade, and I believe it is 15 teeth per inch. So there's my finished piece. So it's a little fuzzy on these edges, but I'll sand that off. I have a 5/8 Forstner bit, and I have it set so that it will just barely pierce through to the other side. And I'm going to drill a 5/8 hole right on that mark. I hope you can see there's a tiny little hole right there, and I'll drill through this side now. And that greatly reduces the splintering. So I'm just going to use a little bit of glue to assemble this. And wood tends to have a crown. That means that if you look at it, it's slightly curved, and usually put the crowns up. Okay. And so I'll put this like this. I'm going to spread some glue across this. And end grain tends to absorb glue quite quickly. Especially, you can tell that the grain is very open over here. And so we'll let that glue sit. Seems to be more dense here. So I won't put as much there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up only one corner. And I'm going to use my nail gun. It's an 18 gauge brad shooter, and it has 1 1/4 inch brads in it, and that'll pin that corner. And I want the grain just slightly over the edge, and then I'm just going to put one more in the center and make sure that nail went through. I'll fix that, and on this side is good. Do the same on this other side. Spread it around a little bit. Fill up the fibers. Yeah, you can see it's soaking up the glue quite quickly. And again, I'm going to I'll line up only one corner at a time. Make sure the other one's where it needs to be. Put one in there. And one in, good. Line up this corner. And the brads are mostly there to hold it together while the glue sets. Now I'll cut the pieces for this side. These are going to be 2.5 inches. These are going to be I can make them 2 3/4. That looks fine. I can make them 2 3/4, and they have to be almost 10 inches across. I have some stock already cut that's large enough, and all I need to do is cut them 2 3/4. My side pieces, and they too tend to be bowed a little bit. Always best to put the best side out. Looks like this side's dark and stained, so I'll put that on the inside, and the smoother, better piece I'll put on the outside. And we'll just run a little bit of glue around here. And spread it a little bit, especially on the outside edge. Set this one down. And I always want to leave them overlapped a little bit on the outside edge and maybe a little bit on the bottom. I run these across the belt sander and that really takes care of it. So we'll start with one corner. We'll put one here. And one, we'll line up this corner. Put one there. One here. One here. And I'll put two on the bottom. And that looks good. We'll do the others the same way. Put the glue. I want to make sure I get stuff on the outside edges more than anything else. That way when I sand them to size, they have a good seal. They blend in a lot better. Again, this seems to be the better side. On. Overlap them on the outside edges a little bit. One in the corner. Make sure this one hasn't moved. Put one in this corner. That's good. The next part is putting on the little handle. And I don't usually put glue on them until the very last thing. Because if I try to do too much at one time, then they tend to stick and not line up. So this is how I usually do it. Alright, put a little bit of glue on the outside here and wipe it around. Make sure there's glue all the way around, especially on to the end. Then I put glue on the inside of this one. This wood is very absorbent. I'll just push my rod on through there. And I usually turn it so it gets out to the other side. And I want to put enough so that when it's when I'm ready, I can cut it off with a flush cutting saw. And I'll let that dry before I do anything else. Also fix that little nail that stuck out. I actually pushed it down, put some glue in there, and plugged it with sawdust and glue. This is that end piece, and this is a flush cutting saw, not to be confused with a flash cutting saw. It does cut on the backstroke. Very good. Now, I always think that this is some kind of secret. I'm sure it's not. Is that I've always saw store-bought stuff and things match up so incredibly well. Like, how in the world do they cut these to fit so well? And the answer is they don't. I usually don't show sanding. So there's how you get those beautiful edges that just blend right in. Use a big belt sander. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Click on like. If you're not a subscriber, click on subscribe. If you're not a member of YouTube, sign up for an account. It's quick and easy. You can ask questions, leave comments, and get answers. I'm looking forward to the UK and Ireland Woodworkers Symposium this year. It's going to be June 18th and 19th in Coventry, England. So if you can get there, by all means go. I'm working on trying to get there, so that I don't want to miss the fun. I think that's going to be great, a great time. So until next time, take care.